Hey gamers, today we're looking at the board game Ex Libris and its expansion, Expanded Archives. Let's check it out. Setup for the game is extremely simple. What you're going to be doing is setting out the board here, shuffling the location tiles, put them over here, and the cards and put them over here. Each player is going to either play regular standard edition, where they get 3 of these little gnomes or creatures to do actions, or the advanced version where they have special characters with special abilities. And what they do is they pick one and then get rid of one of their gnomes and replace it with that special character. Now, each special ability is written on the card and is very simple to understand. After that, this person will be first player, whoever has this. You're going to deal out as many location tiles as there are players in the game. So for a 3-player game, I deal out 1 and 2, just like that. All these have locations that do different things. Some of them, the green lightning bolt says instantly. Some of them say at the end of the round, you'll do something. Some of them are telling you to deal out a certain amount of cards and place them on here. And it'll just tell you each little tile location is very simple and self-explanatory. But before you start, you also have to shuffle these 5 cards here, put one out in the prominent work section, another one out in the banned book section, and then deal out one of these to each player in the game. As you see, there's up to 4 other cards. Now, if you're playing 3 players, you just get rid of one and give the other 3 out. But anyway, that person can look at their card and see, this is the special one I'll be scoring extra on. So I'll just tuck it under here for in-game scoring. And then the game is fairly simple. It's basically worker placement as they're placing their meeples on the areas. Of course, they have little denotions for 3- and 4-player games. If you're playing a 2-player game, it'd just be those 2. But once everyone has put out their men, then you resolve the actions either immediately or at the end of the round. And then whichever one of these is the lowest will stay in the game. So it's always going to be the Diviner's Hut action. So you put this one over here, discard these, and pull out 3 more. Now you're going to keep doing this. And as you see it, these 3 here, at the end of the round, the lowest one is going to be this wishing well. So that's the one that will stay at the end of this round. But they can go to any of these locations and the Diviner's Hut. And then, of course, at the end of this round, you'll clear this off, put this one out, and deal 3 more out. The game keeps going until 2 players reach 16 cards, 3 players 14 cards, or 4 players reach 12 cards. How do they deal out cards? Well, cards must be dealt out. You start with 6 in your hand, and they must be dealt out alphabetically, or that's what you're kind of trying to do with your library here. So how to shelve a card, certain actions in the tiles will let you shelve cards, but your base action is to shelve a card or gain a card from the deck. So you can grab one for the top of the deck, or you can shelve it. So let's say I have this one in my hand. I can put it anywhere. It can be just 3 rows. They can go as long as they want, but you can't have more than 3 rows stacked here. So I'm putting my I right there. You don't even have to stop it at the top. Maybe I do that one. And maybe the next card that I play is a T. So I could play it here, which would be no good because that would be out of alphabetical order because it goes from top down. I could put it here, which would be no good. Here, which it would be in alphabetical order. Or maybe I just want to place it here because maybe I'll get more there. So there's 2 rows there. And the next card that I plant is an S. So I put it here. Now, you can't place them diagonally. They have to be placed orthogonally and only in rows of 3. So if I had this one down here, I could no longer place one at top or bottom of any of these, just left and right. And then I keep going. I have a T, so I put it here. Now, one thing to keep in mind at the end of the game, if you notice these 2 T's, this is a 4 of 10, this is a 1 of 10. So this should actually go ahead of this one. But because I already placed my 4, maybe I got this one later and placed it over there, now they're in the wrong spot here. So in-game scoring, anything that's in its wrong spot, either alphabetically and then secondly numerically, gets flipped over and does not get to score you points at the end of the game. If that's the case, though. But there are plenty of cards, there are plenty of tiles, I should say, in this thing that can let you switch 2 books on your bookshelf and maybe put them in order, okay? So you can do that. And by the way, each one of these cards have different books named, different book names on each one. And there's a huge stack of cards with different book names. Some of them are extremely hilarious. But anyway, you keep going until someone reaches that X amount of cards that should be in their library. After that, you go to final scoring. Now, how final scoring goes, it give you this beautiful little dry erase board. I love this, much better than paper and pen pads that run out. But here you have the alphabetical order deck. Look and make sure everything's in alphabetical order and by numeric order. So again, in this example, if I didn't switch these with one of those tiles earlier on, I'd switch it out, I'd flip it over, meaning it wouldn't count. So some of your books may be out of order, but that's okay because it doesn't stop your shelf stability. This one says, in a grid of 3 by 3 or 2 by 2, what's your farthest grid? And it gives you a little example of what it looks like there. But if I had a grid, let's say, and this is not in alphabetical order, I guess, but let me just let's pretend it is here. You know, if I have one like this, it would be 2, 4, 6, 6 points because that's one big square there. Or if I had added this one here, again, let's just say they're all in alphabetical order. Even if they're not, you can still count it. But 3, 6, 9. You know, I get 9 points. So you can get up to maybe 12 points if you can make 3 stacks of 4. They're all fitting there. So you can really get some big points there. After that, you go to prominent works. Whoever has the most of whatever card is here will get 15. Second place will get 9. Third place will get 4. And then you go over here. Then I have to look at all my spell potions. And you can, if you can't tell by the colors here, it'll give you the little emblem at the top of the card. So that's what we do is we count emblems. So let's say, you know, who got the most monster books? Well, I didn't get it. Maybe I got third, so I got fourth place. But how many band books did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So I get minus 6 points. And again, you're just going to put this down here on the dry erase board here. After that, you're going to go to categorical variety, meaning what you count up, and you should be counting up all the types of books you had previously to this. What is your lowest book collection? Because that you're going to multiply times 3. So if I only had 3 of the blue books, then that would give me a total of 9 points. Lastly, you have library focus, and each player will look at their card and say, hey, I get 2 victory points for every, in my case, yellow book I have on my shelf. So 2, 4, 6, 8. 8. If I had this one turned around, if it hadn't been in alphabetical order, I would have gotten 10. Okay, but those are the times that hurt you when you have to flip over those cards. And of course, whoever has the most points wins. Now that's the base game. The expansion comes with a 5th player, is what it does. So what you're going to do is now you have this player. I don't know why it gave it pink, but that's because they have some pink little meeples they can put to it. But that's just for a 5th player. It also has a scoreboard here that incorporates a solo mode you can play with, or of course if you're playing with 5 players. It's basically the same sheet as before, just with more variety with 5 or 1 players. With 5 players, you won't use this board. You'll set out these tiles, and it says so in a 5-player game, because in a 5-player game, there will be no banned books, because that 5th card will be actually dealt out to the 5th player. But you would lay these out. And then, of course, it has, if you just want to lay these out and not use that board, it has it to a 1 to 4 player, basically the same that you saw there. It has a new Diviner's Hut tile, which the only difference I can see is instead of it written down here, it's written over to the side, maybe so you can better see the rules for it. After that, it has 2 expansions here. It comes with 2 little expansions here. It comes with characters and artifacts. Now, if you can play with one or the other, or both of these if you wanted to. If you're playing with both of them, then you're also going to start off with numbers 1A and 1B. You're going to start with these off. And this is just a bidding phase where everyone's going to bid who is going to be their starting character. And this expansion comes with screen printed versions of these characters here. Just a nice screen printed version of each one of the characters, and the 3 pink gnomes for the 5th player screen printed. And here's some other ones screen printed there. So you would pick one of these, but you would bid. The highest bidder would get to pick, and they just choose from the character deck here, which tells what the expansions, what their special abilities are on the back of the page there. But they would, in that order, pick through the deck, and they'd all pick that. That's how they start off. They would also start off, I'm sorry, that's the one that would pick the magical creatures. This is the one that would have them start off by picking one of the face up. You would deal out these little artifacts. And artifacts basically are just little things that give you special abilities in the game or in-game points, extra in-game points. And so they'll be dealing them out. I think it's 3, but it could be more than that, 4 or 5. And so then you're going to be bidding for those artifacts here, and whoever wants to get the artifacts can. That's just optional how those 2 would start off. Now in the game, there's also 2 other permanent tiles you would keep in the game. This one's for the characters. You could rent out a character. If you put someone here, you could get a special character for that 1 round and then return him back. You'd look at the top deck of the I'm sorry, that's the artifact. There it is, 10 pages, excuse me. There's this guy, and you look at the special matches at the top, special edition. So you would get him, and you'd maybe get one extra special character that round. Artifact deck would just look at the top card in the artifact file, and you can get that one too in the black market. So you can just get more artifact cards. And these spots, again, will always be available when you're playing with these 2 expansions. And basically, that's the game. Final thoughts. What do I think about the games? Well, first off, this is an excellent game. I remember when this came out, I saw it and I thought about it and then just never looked at it again. I totally forgot about it until just recently when I was looking for a trade and I had some extra credit in Noble Knight Games. I saw this one. I was like, oh, wait a minute. That was one I was interested in a long time ago. Yes, excellent game. Should have got it a long time ago. It's such a fun game. Someone in my board game group already has a copy. They didn't even tell me about this game. This is such a fun game. I had another game a long time ago called Anthemium or Anthemium. I can't remember the name of it, but something similar to this. But I got rid of it because I didn't think it was that diversive. And after a while of playing it, it kind of got kind of samey. This one will not be the same because every time there'll be a different banned book. Every time there'll be a different prominent work. You may get a different book that will be your special ability in the game. And it's really a lot of fun. There's so many cards. And you think, man, it's going to be hard to put it in alphabetical order. I have been able to do it every time. Now, I won't score the most points because, like I said, scoring that shelf stability card, I've seen people get some big points on that, even though they weren't in order. And sometimes you're just wanting to play cards just to kind of end the game because you think you have enough points in the game to win. What cards you get, you're looking for cards of your different color or of the prominent one. You're trying to avoid those banned book ones. Like I put one card down, I'm like, yes, I'm making 8 points on that. And then I noticed it had 2 of the banned books on there. I was like, oh no, I was making like 4 points. I can't remember. But then it turned out I'm only making 2 because there were some banned books on there too. I was like, oh, don't go on it. But I love that about the game. So this one definitely worth getting. What about the expansion? No. This has the what I call the Stonemaier Games syndrome here, where they come out with a big expansion, make you pay a lot of money, and it really has nothing in it. So, for instance, solo mode. No thanks, not interested. 5 players. Again, probably not interested. It maybe one day I'll play with 5, but usually I don't play with 5 players. So not really. The extra expansion, I do like how you can pick up maybe a temporary worker and do that. That'd be neat. And the artifact seems somewhat cool. We played it once. Like I said, I'll add those in, but they could have just put those 2 decks in it and 2 tiles, and that'd have been it and made it a much cheaper expansion. Now, again, I paid nothing for this because I got it in trade. But if you're on a budget, this is the one you should be getting. Don't worry about getting this. This one's just not really that worth it. If it's worth more than, I don't know, $15, if it's selling more for that, it's not worth it in my opinion. So a little bit disappointed because when I heard expanded archives, I just put this in with my trade because I thought, oh, it's going to be more cards and whatnot. And obviously they can't do that because I guess they already have enough for alphabetical orders. But maybe put numeric, numbers in there that go before the alphabet. Either way, though, it's up to you whether you think this is worth it for you. But this one is definitely a great game and definitely a keeper in my collection. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Game on!